We are live. At least that's what the notification on my end says. And it only feels applicable or not applicable, appropriate that I am rocking little pig earrings and I've got my flowered headband and a pink shirt because I remember going back to school and laying out my first day outfit. And back to school was always, now there's just a timer started that says live. Okay, well, either way, if I missed it, I talked about I'm rocking my little pig earrings. I've got my flowered headband. I've got my pink shirt on because I remember going back to school, how excited I was to pick out my first day of school outfit, to lay it out and have all of my things ready. My mom always made back to school shopping like super, super special. I've got 3 siblings. I'm the youngest. Nope, I'm the oldest. But she took each of us out like separately, and we got to pick out our school supplies. We got to pick out a couple outfits, and then we got to spend the whole day with just my mom. So I was actually just telling Amy this earlier that I picked, like I remember my mom taking me to plays. That's what I chose. I remember I wanted to go to a play. I have 2 brothers and a sister. One of my brothers, for example, chose to come to Fargo. We grew up in South Dakota. Chose to come to Fargo because there was a Hooters here. And I feel he was like in 4th grade, y'all. So let that be your metric. But back to school was very, very special, more so because of the time that I got to spend with my mom doing it. But big picture here is a common sentiment that we hear among many parents, that the visions and ideas that they had for their kiddos slip away amongst the overwhelming pace and expectations of going back to school. Or maybe your family has never navigated this transition and you're sending off your youngster to school for the first time this fall and you don't know what to expect. Daily rhythms, activities, schedules, foods, sleep, stress, it all looks different. I've worked with people long enough to know that keeping up with the Joneses is a very real driver, a very real reality for families. Even if keeping up with the Joneses just means doing things the way that they've always been done, the way that you've always done them. But what if there were ways to take out the complexity, to take out the guesswork out of this adjustment period? What if your family could cruise that sea of shifts gracefully, confidently, and as a united team? You can. Hey, Doc Lauren, girl. She says, I'm so nervous for navigating school. Lucky for us, we've got like 1 to 2 years left, right? We've got time. We can figure it out together. We're united. But you can. The trouble is that most concerned, well-intentioned parents ask other concerned, well-intentioned parents who are the Joneses. So they can only share from their lens, from their experiences, from their perspective on how to tread water and stay alive and survive. But that's why we're here. How about we instead learn to swim the Panama Canal like Michael Phelps? I don't even know if he's actually still relevant. I don't know professional sports, and I don't really care to. What I do know is prenatal, pediatric, and family chiropractic. I am a chiropractor here at Healing Touch Chiropractic in West Fargo, North Dakota. I'm one of 3 that we have in our office. I myself have done hundreds of hours of postgraduate education, research, and training into all things health and wellness for families. So looking at all stages of development, from pregnancy to birth to infancy to childhood and beyond. It is the professional accomplishment I am the most proud of. I've also got 2 kids at home. I have a 3.5-year-old and an almost 1-year-old. Parenting them and leading my home are the personal accomplishments I am most proud of, which means I've danced with these concepts, I've played with them, and I've applied them, and I've tweaked them when they've needed tweaking. So my purpose, my passion is truly to share the hope and expectancy of a radiantly beautiful life, especially as it relates to family health and the family unit. So our last Healthy Happy Home segments, back in July, we talked dietary supplements. And 2 weeks ago, Dr. Tiff went into how to rock the school year with your older kids. If you missed either, find our videos tab here on Facebook. You will find those videos. You'll also find other helpful videos with education, inspiration, more office events, things like that. But what I see, both here in the office, and Drs. Tiff and Lauren would agree with this, and out in the wild, as I call it, is that kids hit school and it is full tilt. And those heartfelt, helpful parent friends that I mentioned earlier, offering up their guidance, most oftentimes they confirm that behaviors and tantrums and regressions and being completely exhausted and emotional and needing to seek out additional therapies and interventions, that's normal. But instead of riding that terrible story, we need to completely about face this, to flip it on its axis. It is our job as parents to make our homes and our childhood safe for our kids. If you watched the other back to school segment, Dr. Tiff talked a lot about how when our older kids dread heading back to school or have concerns pop up, that what is actually needed as parents is to take a peek in the mirror to see what's going on in our lives. We are truly the ones who set the rhythm and the pace and what is allowed in our homes. So it is time to step up, especially with our younger kids, because this is a crucial time period that's setting the foundation for not just childhood but beyond, for development, for self-esteem and confidence, for sense of responsibility and work ethic, for values and morals. I don't know why I haven't actually been keeping count of all of it. I want to say it's huge. It's all encompassing. So it truly is time to step up as parents. If you are How the Grinch Stole Christmas fan, he says it's all you, Maxie. It is. It is all you, Maxie. The educational system is not set up with the core value of protecting childhood or laying the groundwork for our kids, nor should it be. And this is not a bashing of any schooling system by any means, but those are the facts. You chose to have kids. That means it is your job to make sure that they are prepared and well equipped for the journey, whether that's public school, private school, homeschooled, or even unschooling, and then reassessing frequently to see what pivots are needed. So let's paint two pictures, okay? Summertime, we are I don't even want to say it's wrapping up, but it's kind of just wrapping up. Summertime typically entails loads of sunshine, fresh air, physical activity, fruits and veggies, sleeping in. Most people are paying attention to water. Family time is usually a priority. If you're like me, you're kind of riding those waves. You're like, yeah, that all sounds good. I want more of that. Contrast that with the standard American school day. School requires many kids to wake up early, particularly in our rural communities where there is a lengthy commute to get to school. Kids are then expected to sit inside a building at a desk all day long where people tell them what to do, when to do it, how to do it. Lunchtime focus is convenience for the masses. Water consumption throughout the day, no one's tracking that or encouraging it. Outside time is scant and doesn't actually go past age 11. School lets out, and then mom or dad or a babysitter or a helpful neighbor play taxi to 800 different activities and extracurriculars and meetups. You get home and you take out the books and the sight words and the math problems. And many educational programs now utilize tablets and laptops. So they're getting screen time during the day, and then you get home and then there's more screen time, okay? And then you finish up with that whole rigmarole and it is super late and you haven't had time to do any of fun stuff or even just like laundry, dishes, whatever, okay? So to be completely blunt, that sounds an awful lot to me like prison. Only prison, we send people there for bad behavior. It's a punishment. School, you can't opt out of. So no wonder we are navigating one of the most challenging periods in time regarding the concerns facing our kids. Obesity, mental health disorders, sleep problems, high blood pressure. Yes, in kids, heart and lung disorders, violence, focus and attention and behavior challenges. Where is the family connection time? Where is the unstructured playtime? Where is the autonomy? These are the threads that we are going to be tapping into and nurturing, or looking at nurturing tonight. And it doesn't have to be hard or complicated to do these things either. So if you know me, you know that I love a good purge. Purging in my world equates to, yes, decluttering, for sure. But in this context, we're going to boil it down to simplifying, especially when children are in the mix, okay? So I'm going to touch on 4 overarching concepts where you can apply this less is more mentality and lifestyle as they regard to weathering school with your youngsters. So first and foremost, get your kids outside. I say first and foremost because ideally it's happening right off the bat in the morning. That isn't always a possibility, especially if your kids are in the commuters, or even if not. Kids, turns out they grow and do a ton of repair from the days while they're sleeping. So if it's later in the day, what have you. But outside time during the school day is typically monitored and is typically limited. So if you can believe this, there are only 10 states in the US where recess time is required. That means it is largely considered optional in many school systems. School administrators often view it as a privilege for kids, not necessarily a component of education itself. So I actually remember growing up when like my class as a whole was like not behaving, was defiant, when we weren't getting along, or maybe it was inclement weather and the teacher didn't want to put on her hats and mittens, where recess was actually a bargaining chip that we could just take it away. They actually did this in Atlanta and Chicago in late 1990s, early 2000s. They thought with all that additional time that it would add to extra class time and that they would see improved test scores because of it. Can you predict the outcome? I will tell you, it wasn't good. So as a chiropractor, outside time is a non-negotiable, all right? Not only is every joint in our bodies designed to move, and they need to move, but our brain is through and through a sensory organ that we feed trillions of pieces of information to every single day. Majority of that information, it actually receives through spinal movement. So if you're not moving, you are literally cutting off communication within your own body. You don't use it, you lose it. So no wonder we've got physical concerns. No wonder we've got emotional stress. No wonder we've got mental anguish, and we talk about big emotions and nobody can regulate anything and everybody's just treading water. So pair the physical movement that we're talking about with the fresh air and vitamin D that you can only get from the great outdoors. You have a free powerhouse resource activity to put your kids' energy stores to use. It costs nothing. It's easy to do. It has countless health benefits. It engages the tactile parts of them, which I would counter are going to be the most important. And not just for little kids, even for us as adults. How many of us wake up, we sit in our box of a car to get to our box of a desk, and we are there for 8 or 9 hours. We get back in our car, we go home, we crawl into our box bed. Like, where is the lateral movement? Where is the engaging, like the full ranges of motion? That's the way that we were designed to play. Climbing trees, chasing after rabbits and birds. Those things are true play and learning the way that God designed it. And requires minimal facilitation on your part as a parent. This is huge. So every single parent I know, if you were to ask what their primary current concern or goal is, it has something to do with their kids, making sure they're set up as best as possible and to do better with their kids than their parents did with them. And this is even folks who had a perfectly lovely childhood. Everybody wants better for their kids, but that doesn't actually mean that we need to plan out and execute every opportunity for them to learn, to engage, to participate in every dang sport. I hear quite frequently how parents want to provide kids the chance to try different activities so they can find out what they like. Why are we in such a rush to find that all out before age 6? Let your kid become bored. Let them. This will help them garner a sense of control, help them develop problem-solving skills. I need to quit counting with my hands because I don't actually know how many there are. Develop problem-solving skills, flex their creativity and adaptability muscles, practice communication, observe their surroundings. This even goes for those of us with little kids. So my kids have not yet hit school. I don't orchestrate 56 play dates. I don't believe that my kid needs socialization. I take my kid with me to things that I am normally doing as a functioning member of society. I take them to the grocery store, to the library, to the post office, to baseball games. Let them see you interacting. Let them see other kids interacting and behaving and reading social cues. And then give them room to practice and make mistakes and mess it all up and then try again tomorrow. Monkey see, monkey do applies to us, whether we want to believe in evolution or not. We are literally wired this way, people. All of this is going to minimize the need to utilize screens in your home. So we stopped watching TV in our home last November, and it gave us back a sense of calm and control that I can't quite describe, because we never really watched TV that much beforehand. We'd watch a movie here or there every few weeks. We love Marvel movies, but it was so empowering to decide, hi, Doc Tiff. It was so empowering to decide as a parenting team that we weren't going to use TV anymore to numb out, to relax, to connect, because none of those things are actually true. If your face is in front of a TV, if it's in front of a phone or an iPad, your neurology matches the fast pace of the fast-moving lights, colors, and sounds. It's stimulating. So that stimulation is actually ramping up the stress and anxiety centers in your brain. So we think we're relaxing when really we're just turning up the dials. We think we're connecting when really we're just matching the frequency of the technology that we're using. We think we're numbing ourselves when really we're just distracting ourselves from whatever real life thing is still going to be there when we turn the power off. And then we wonder why falling asleep at night, why racing brains, why anxiety, why losing touch with reality and not wanting to listen and cooperate is such a struggle. Get your kids out on their bike, play cards with them, call a grandparent, draw a picture, get bored, give them a shot at those things. Okay? It truly all comes back to trusting your kids and being okay with them figuring out things little by little. And while they're doing whatever things is when you have the opportunity to make supper, to mow the yard, to read a book. It might not be a full uninterrupted 2 hours like you used to have before children, but little by little is how you take back your sanity and the flow of life in your home. So to maximize those increments of time, change your expectations and your perceptions, not your standards. One of my most favorite books, it's really funny because the theme of books that I read now is all, for a while, growing up, I loved fiction books. And then for a while, it was like self-care, self-help books, like how to be a better human. And now the theme is like, how do I be a better parent? How do I do my life and model it in a way that I am proud of and that teaches the morals and values that I stand for? One of my most favorite books, it's called Simplicity Parenting. It's by Kim John Payne. He has so much to offer in terms of bringing more calm and control and meaning to family life. And one of the recommendations that I want to pass along because of how helpful it's been for me, it has to do with mealtime. Instead of looking at the week and thinking, okay, I need to come up with 7 meals, designate a theme for each day of the week. And this is going to minimize the stress and chaos of meal planning. So, for example, Mondays are Mexican. You do fajitas, enchiladas, tacos, quesadillas. There's probably, if you go to a Mexican restaurant, have you ever seen a thicker menu? There's like 4,000 pages. Like, I literally get the same thing every time. There's so many Mexican things. Tuesday nights could be crock pot. Wednesday nights could be soup. The sky's the limit. You come up with your themes, pasta, whatever. Routines aren't just beneficial for kids. They are literally helpful for all of us. Use that knowledge to your advantage. So truly, this is about minimizing things, indoor time, minimizing you being the facilitator of all activities and sports and meetups and their every waking moment, less screen times, less complexity, so as to make room for the things that matter to you and your family. And again, this isn't me saying that the school system is, well, no, the school system is flawed. I will be the first to acknowledge that. But there are things that you can do to best support whatever system your child is enrolled in. And there are ways for you to do it, for them to get involved with activities that isn't so overwhelming. Start with one, and then if it doesn't go so hot, do not be the parent that dies on that hill. I know that a lot of people do not hold the sentiment that we don't quit, and I don't look at it as quitting. When we're talking about protecting the sanctity of my home and my family, if it's a no, it needs to be a no, okay? When Hank was born, he's our oldest, my mom gave me 3 pieces of advice that I will sum up in this way. She told me that if he was ever to the point where he was irate and pissed, and giving him milk, getting him sleep or a nap or whatever, and a clean diaper didn't cut it, to try taking him outside or to stick his butt in the bathtub. Should there be a time when neither of those worked, to walk away for a moment, to gather my bearings before beginning again with whatever it might be. Mama probably didn't know it, but that is the foundation of why chiropractic care is so vital for the family unit. When you have hit a wall, and this applies to your patients, to your kids' patients, yes, but also if your family is navigating like a tough transition to school or health concerns, you've hit a wall and you just feel like the world is crushing down on you. First, take a moment to pause. Do nothing but be in that moment. Then you make moves to find ways to increase your threshold, your adaptability, your ninja-ness, your ability to handle tough stuff, because parenting is hard. There will be meltdowns and tantrums. That's all a part of development. It's really easy for us as adults to look at a kid freaking out and think that they are naughty or that that something is awry. When you know how the brain learns things, and you know that it needs to try things in order to establish a level of security and comfort and safety, and then venture out again, and then to get comfortable and confident and safe, and then to venture out again. No wonder kids are going to display things that aren't necessarily what we view as awesome, like tantrums and throwing themselves on the ground and being over emotional, when we've locked them in a box all day. And then you take them to activities and expect them to do homework and wonder why they don't want to talk to you. Dude, it's been nonstop for 9 hours and I just need a beat. So little tools, even for school age kids, like the bathtub, like outside, they truly are calming to the nervous system. They are hacks. They are little tricks in that realm. Nothing can actually address and remove true dysregulation barriers in the nervous system the way that chiropractic can. The chiropractic adjustment is going to bring your family more balance, more ease, more calm, more life. And that's whether there is excitement around school time or major nerves. So, does anyone have any questions or want to share any of their own experiences? Because I know I prefaced the keeping up with the Joneses and asking people who haven't done things in a way that feels good to them. Like, you don't want to ask advice from people who aren't doing it the way you want to do it, right? But that's what we all do. So if anyone does have questions, or if you're ready to schedule your family's new patient times, you can message us here on Facebook. You can call us. We have a phone, 701-893-3150. We would be more than ecstatic to find the perfect time to get your family scheduled on the docket. If you're not local to Fargo, Moorhead, West Fargo, also connect with us, because more than likely we have someone in our network that we can connect you with to help your family. Housekeeping. We are doing, like I said, we did supplements in July. Dr. Tiff did back to school with big kids a couple weeks ago. Join us again September 12th. Dr. Tiff is going to be deep diving into all things anxiety. So until then, here is to your healthy, happy home and kick butt school year for you and your kiddo. Okay? Much love, everybody.